Okay. So, thank you guys for doing this. I'm sorry it's late, but here it is. Now this is kind of the point for Laura. You guys are a little bit past that, so I'm going to talk to you separate. But for Anna and Amanda, basically we're saying that all the kids are familiar enough with the phonograms and the whole idea of writing words that we're jumping to phrases. Now you guys have been doing phrases, but we're going to systematize it and then add the meaning in the way that I kind of showed you guys earlier. So I just practiced with Lincoln to make sure I got down the system here. And what I did is, ignore that stuff on the bottom, is he had a piece of notebook paper. We're thinking it's in our book, so you can imagine it looks like this. The left-hand side is where we're writing down anything that we're not gonna, I'm calling it notes. And so for him, it's just practicing spelling some words that we might not have seen before or need to practice. And then this side is where we're writing down our phrases to memorize. So this is the one that looks like with Lincoln. And so I said ayeneto. I just said the word, and he has to say it. So we would do it with the class a few times. Okay, everybody say ayeneto. And everybody says ayeneto. Pronunciations here or there. We do it a couple times, so I'm starting to feel like they got it. And then I say, okay, pick a few people, and you can't go past it if they can't say it because it's not clear in their head. So I made sure Lincoln actually could say this word, and they've already had it, so he nailed it. Good job, Miss Amanda. He said ayeneto. Then I asked him to clap it. Clap ayeneto, and I did it first. Ayeneto. Okay, let me hear you guys clap it. All right, let's clap it together. Ready? Ayeneto. Okay, good. So then we clapped it, then I checked him. I had him do it all by himself. Can you clap it? And what that does is it proves to me and to himself if he knows the syllables and if he's pronouncing each syllable well. If he's not, then I can diagnose and have him do it again. And then I asked him to sound out the syllables. So it's just like spelling dictation. Okay, sound out each syllable. And I just said it like that. And so he kind of faltered for a minute, but then he said, yen. Oh, now tell me the sounds for yen. Y, n, good. And then to. Okay, so then we sounded out the syllables just like we've been doing, and then I had him do it all by himself. And so the class is doing it, but then you got to pick the 2 or 3 or 4 to do it by themselves to make sure that they really can sound it out. And then I said, now write it. And so he wrote it, and you can see he erased a grave accent on top of this eh. He got it. So he got the letters. I checked it. I showed him my copy of it. And then he looked at his, and then I said, okay, and he marks. And so we got a smooth breathing mark on the first eh, and then an acute on the second eh. And so he can check his off of mine, and I'm looking at his to double check because kids aren't always good at checking off the board like you know. So we got that word down. Then we did the next word, anthropos. Say it, anthropos. Okay, good. Say it again, anthropos. Let me hear you say it. Lincoln, let me hear you say it. Marcy, let me hear you say it. Willow, anthropos. Okay, so they can say it. So the first thing is say it. Then they clap it. Then they give the sounds. Then they write. And then we check with marks. So always like this to get a word down. And then I have them read it just to make sure they can still say it. So we got 5 words done like this. Now, occasionally we hit a word like this and he couldn't say it. It was just too hard. So when we're doing the saying, if he can't say it the first time or he can't say it easily, then we're going to build it backwards. So on apestalmenos, he couldn't, it was too much in his mouth. So I said, os. Say os. Os. Say menos. Menos. Okay, good. Now say stalmenos. Stalmenos. Now say pestalmenos. Pestalmenos. And each little addition, you do it a few times until they're comfortable. The whole point of this step is just them being able to get the word out of their mouth, into their ear, and then out of their mouth. Pestalmenos. So now we've completed that. We can't move on until they actually can say it. Then he clapped it, and him doing this helped me to diagnose and revisit. So think of this as a little bit of a cycle if you need to. And then we did the sounds, he did the sounds, and then he wrote it, and he did awesome actually. he got it down, and then we wrote it. I wrote it, and he checked, and he saw, and then we did the marks, and he was good. I checked him, he checked himself, I checked him, checking himself, and then he read it. So we did all these words, and then I had him flip the paper over and say, okay, now you've done all the words you need. We're going to do some phrases. Now, a phrase.
Part two.